You're welcome back. This is Firecrackers. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's shift our attention now to something different. It has to do with Nigeria's insecurity, but it definitely has to do more with the issue of arms procurement and munitions procurement, because very recently the Chief of Army Staff said specific individuals made the purchase for these arms, and he has asked that these individuals should be made to face the House of Representatives, and a lot of drama ensued, I think, on Tuesday earlier last week when he had that interface with the House of Representatives. Joining us now to get some perspective is a two-term member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Kehinde Odene. He joins us live from Abuja, the nation's capital. Honorable, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV. Let's begin with the fact that the Chief of Army Staff was at the House of Representatives early last week, but your colleagues have been, people, Nigerians have criticized your colleagues for the handling of the state of security in the country at the moment. Some think that the National Assembly, which should be one of the tiers of governments and to ensure checks and balances and all, have rather been described as a rubber-stamp National Assembly. It has also been described as a toothless bulldog. Is that a position you share?
Not at all, not at all. Let me put it this way. I quite agree with Nigerians that the National Assembly is supposed to serve as a check and balance on the activities of the executive. Do not also forget that the National Assembly also appropriates funds, but the National Assembly is not the one to release funds to the various agencies of government. However, where necessary, I quite agree that the National Assembly, especially as far as security is concerned, which I believe they've been doing, they need to really put the security apparatus on their toes, because the National Assembly members represent the generality of Nigerians. But let me also say that there's also a limit as to the interventions the National Assembly can make. It comes this way. If the agencies of government require additional funding, yes, the National Assembly can come into play to really know what to do in this circumstance. If the agencies of government in charge of securities are not spending the money appropriated to them wisely enough, and also be able to apply the way they should, the National Assembly is supposed to come into it. And this is exactly what they did on Tuesday when they invited the Chief of Army Staff to come and explain precisely the issues regarding procurement of arms. The only issue I have with that particular sitting is that I didn't expect the handling the way it was actually handled. The Chief of Army Staff has submitted a report. Usually in the National Assembly, we don't, we usually discuss security matters, under camera, under closed door, where the cameras are not usually placed because of the sensitivity of security matters. But in this particular case, the Chief of Army Staff has submitted a report which I expected members to take turn to check and go through first before the various questions that were being posed to the Chief of Army Staff. And that was why they had those confrontations. The Chief of Army Staff was very smart in his presentation. He was very smart in his presentation. And I did not see anything wrong in his disposition, because however misconstrued by some members of the parliament the way the Chief of Staff presented his matters. He has presented it in a very logical way. And do not forget also that he was not there when the procurement were made. So he has to be careful. And he has brought a document that he felt should satisfy the questions of the members of the committee. So what I expected was a situation where the committee will go through, will give time for the Chief of Staff to come back While they go through the documentation, if they go through that document, I can assure you that there will be so many questions that they can pose to the chief of army staff, and where there is a need to bring back anybody that has been involved or that was involved in the procurement processes, it is only through those documents, except the document that was submitted to them does not capture. If it does not capture the questions they want to pose, yes, all you need to do is ask, it's supposed to be an investigative thing, to the extent that you continue to push. It's not something you can get out immediately. You continue to push until the people you are after will not be able to have any form of defense except and until they answer your question. So, as far as National Assembly is concerned in terms of support to the executive in fighting security, I think they have done well. But when you talk about this particular face-off on Tuesday, I think there's a need for National Assembly, especially the committee members that call the chief of army staff, to really cool down, go through the documentation, and I can assure you that they will have a lot to add.
All right, Kehinde Odeneye, well, we would like to anchor our conversation on that note with you. We will chat with you maybe when you're back in Lagos, and we'll have an exclusive chat and, of course, a more comprehensive chat with you. But I would like to thank you most kindly for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so there you go. We've been speaking with a two-term member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Kehinde Odeneye, live for us in Abuja, the nation's capital. Just before we wind down on our conversation tonight, let's shift our attention now to something else. It has to do with something trending in Kaduna State. The Southern Kaduna People's Union are demanding the freedom and release of some detained leaders of the union. Well, we do have the spokesman of the Southern Kaduna People's Union tonight joining us on the conversation, Luka Binias. He joins us live tonight. And to have this conversation, we also made efforts to hear the part of the government, the Kaduna State government. And so we reached out as well to the Kaduna State Commissioner for Security, Internal Security, Samuel Aruman, who of course didn't respond to our chats and calls. But the spokesman for Sukapu joins us live. Luka, thank you so much. What exactly is the union calling for?
We are calling for the immediate release of some of our members who are natives of Atiap Chiefdom in Zangon Katav local government to be released, or they should be taken to court so that they get bail, because they were tricked into a meeting, virtually tricked into a meeting with officers, military officers of Operation Safe Haven, who have their headquarters close to Kafanchan. They were thinking that they were coming to hear or to give suggestions to the military on how to cope the incessant daily and nightly invasion of Atiap land, which started in July last year, just to be rounded up like common criminals and detained by the army and brutalized for some days before they were now transferred to the police, who did the same thing in Kafanchan and then transferred them to Kaduna. Among them is a very elderly person, Elder Wojela, who is 85. In fact, as of yesterday, he was so ill that he had to be rushed to the hospital. And there is tension in Atiablan now, because if anything happens to that highly respectable elder, I don't think it's going to be in the interest of anybody. So we are saying that.
Look, help us understand. Has the State Police Command put out any statement whatsoever in response to your demands? Or has the police also put out any statement in response to why they were arrested or why they are being detained?
No, it will look like, in fact, they are not the only ones that are being kept. There are 3 others who had been under police custody. It will look like they are keeping them quiet, hiding them. No statement whatsoever, no public statement has been made. Hello?
Well, such a sad development there. Maybe you can also confirm for us just how long have these leaders of the union been in detention? And of course, the question also to ask is where exactly did this play out?
The first batch of our leaders, Ayuba Bungon, was taken about 1 month ago. We have just been able to trace his whereabouts in Kaduna here. He was picked from his village of Boragan. We just got to know his whereabouts recently in Kaduna here. Then the other batch of 17 leaders were picked on the 31st of March and taken to the army camp in Kafanchan and later transferred to Kaduna. So they are now with the Kaduna State Police Command, who have not said anything at all about whether they are with them or not. But our lawyers are briefing us about their conditions. And we are asking that they should be released according to the law, or they should be formally charged as the law requires. This is the kind of injustice we have been facing. The people that are carrying out these invasions, which are people who have always identified as the Fulanis, none of their leaders have ever been invited even for common interrogation. But behold, now that accusation of the killings of cows have surfaced, our leaders, including very infirm one who obviously would have never even been able to, walk a kilometer, we are tricked to come into a meeting and arrested. And they have always said, look, they have no hand in this. We even have our that did this thing actually happen? Because these are some of the trump-up charges against leaders of our community, and it's not only the people that have.
All right, because we are pressed for time, Luca, maybe in 60 seconds or less, I'll need you to respond to this question very quickly. Kaduna State has been subjected to a lot of unrest in very recent times, kidnappings, banditry, violence. What is the state of things in the state at the moment? In 60 seconds or less, please.
Well, in southern part of Kaduna State, nothing has changed. The invasions, the killings, especially in Kajuru and Birningwari, is getting worse by the day. Right now, as I speak, we have over 100 communities that have been captured by Fulani herdsmen and taken over. The government has not said anything, have not given any relief materials to the over 50,000 IDPs that are roaming about. The security situation is not getting any better at all.
Well, look, I would like to thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there because we are absolutely pressed for time. The spokesman of the Southern Kaduna People's Union, Luka Biniyat, live for us in Kaduna State. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.